Hi guys, okay, so I'm going to do today a book review on a book by Nigel Pearson called Tread in the Mill, and basically overall I thought this was quite a good book. I actually enjoyed reading it. In fact, I enjoyed it that much I read it in 2 days, but I did really enjoy this book. Basically, I mean, it's a basic how-to for beginners, and I highly recommend this for beginners. I really do, and I also, as well, without sounding weird in any way or anything like that, I just know that I have quite a lot of teenage viewers. I recommend this to teenagers as well, because the fact that I'm not implying in any way, shape or form that teenagers are stupid. I am not doing that. But it's written, the way it is written basic. And for me, when I was a teenager, I remembered when I was first starting out on witchcraft, well, actually a kid, but, just before my teens, when I was starting out as a kid, I desired a text that was kind of like, right, this is what this is how to do it, this is what this is how to do it. And that's what the book does. The book does that, and the book is basic and simplistic, and the book really does, this is called, this is what laying a compass round is, and this is how you do it, this is called Tread in the Mill, and this is what it is, this is how you can do it. I will give a couple of examples here, stuff like that, and yeah, I really enjoyed the book. I got, I actually learnt a couple of things from it as well, because the book actually talked about Troy stones, Troy stones are a subject which they really interest me. The whole idea of a Troy stone really gets my attention, really interests me, and I think that this book described what they were, and it actually described how to use them as well, how to utilise and work with a Troy stone within your craft. Now, I pretty much sussed out how to work with a Troy stone. However, what the book kind of done, because basically, cut a long story short, I was looking for just a text to say how to work with a Troy stone, but no one actually told me. So, it was kind of like, well, yes, I know what a Troy stone is, but how do I actually use one? How do I actually work with one within my practice and within my craft? And this book kind of just told you how to, so I do recommend this book, and I recommend this book to people who are beginners within the craft. However, I mean, just people that are practicing traditional witchcraft, I'll recommend this book to as well, because I think that sometimes it's good to go back to basics within your practice. Sometimes we can get bombarded with so much information when, to the point where we feel like, I know all this stuff, but how do I actually go about working with something, and how do I actually apply that to my practice? And this book kind of just goes back to basics, There were a couple of things in there that, to me personally, didn't grab my attention. There were a lot of visualizations in there, there were some guided meditations in there and stuff like that. And, that's, whatever floats anyone's boat, but that just isn't within my practice, and that is not what I do within my practice. So, however, that's not to say that they're crap or anything like that. I'm not implying that. I'm just saying I don't personally do a lot of path workings and meditations and stuff like that within my practice. I don't. It's morely about bonding with spirits and making things happen. However, if anybody is into that, I'm sure that would be great for them. What else? There's a couple of chapters as well that I'm going to openly admit I didn't read. There was one on wand crafting that didn't particularly get my attention, and there was also one on making brews, making alcohol elixirs and liqueurs, and, breads for sabbats and stuff like that, and it just didn't really appeal to me. There was also, various things on entering the twilight as well. I think that was chapter 5. I really enjoyed that bit, because to me that was just, you know, kind of incorporating the shamanic part back into witchcraft. He was very much focused on hedge witchery as well within this book. So, you know, he was talking about the shamanic aspect of witchcraft, really. The whole idea of trance working, building up trance, working with various, you know, energies whilst in a heavy trance and stuff like that. Here is how you induce trance. You can do it by swaying, you can do it by chanting, you can use mantras, you can do such and such, and yeah. It was a good book. It was good in the way that it wasn't using flowery words and being really deliberately intricate with the way it sort of formed things and stuff like that. Because I think that's a mistake that a lot of traditional witchcraft authors make if they are doing basic how-to books, because, you know, there are these books out there that say they are for beginners and stuff like that. However, the use of words and the way they word things, you know, some of them I've read and I've just thought, you are overcomplicating this for the person reading this, you know, for the beginner and stuff like that. You know, what would be good would be a basic how-to book. This is what laying a compass is, this is how to do it, this is what treading the mill is, this is how you do it, this is how you raise energy, this is how you work this charm, this is how you do this. And this book by Nigel Pearson does it. You know, he goes back to basics, and I think that's good, you know. As I said, I learnt a lot. The spellcrafting section as well, I thoroughly enjoyed. However, I will say there were a couple of recipes there, well, actually just one, that stuck out to me a bit as hoodoo. He incorporated the use of thieves' vinegar. He never called it for thieves' vinegar, just thieves' vinegar. And basically, you know, sort of said, oh, you know, we use this within witchcraft, rah, rah, rah. However, I don't know, maybe, you know, possibly it is used within witchcraft, as each person's practice can be very varied, but I've only ever known thieves' vinegar to be used within hoodoo. I've never known it to be used in witchcraft. I mean, forgive me for being, maybe if I'm being a bit naive here, but I haven't. So I was a bit like, oh, you know, you're kind of crossing over hoodoo a little bit there, and, you know, that's something I was a bit like, no, you know, if I want to read a book on traditional witchcraft, I want it to be witchcraft, not hoodoo. So, yeah, but, yeah, I mean, spellcrafting, again, he touched up a section on natural magic as well, the use of incorporating stones into your practice, you know, stuff like really basic stuff, but stuff that you're like, yeah, actually, that works. And just sort of stuff where I realised that actually, you know, sometimes I could, you know, it kind of made me realise that a lot of research that I've done, a lot of stuff that I've done is all well and good, but sometimes we can know too much, and sometimes that tends to lead to people maybe overcomplicating spells or overcomplicating certain charms. You know, sometimes it is, you know, just a simple act can be enough to change your thing. You don't have to do that and then, oh, I'll do another one and then I'm going to do this, and then, you know, because you could end up sabotaging it, you know. So it just kind of made me realise that actually there are just simple and humble offerings you can give to spirits. You know, give them an offering, be like, please do this for me, I'm doing this as a symbolic act, you know, boom, boom, and that's it. Leave it at that, and keep it simple, you know, rather than overcomplicating things with all these different things that we have learnt from other authors. So yeah, Treading the Mill by Nigel Pearson, I highly recommend. I do. There was a touch up. Well, there's an issue with some trad crafters with the book, because he uses the phrase the god and goddess, and a lot of people don't like that, and a lot of people don't agree in that and think that that is quite Wiccanised. However, in traditional witchcraft, we do have Old Horny, the Horned Master, who, you know, in many forms goes way back. You know, and we do have the Queen of Alphamay as well. There are some traditional witches that will bring them together and see them as counterparts, you know. Not the same as within Wicca, though. Definitely not the same as within Wicca, because in Wicca the god and goddess are a dualistic divine force that kind of rules over everything, really. I think the god has his dominion over nature and the earth, and the goddess is a lot more divine and a lot more cosmic. I think, you know, any of my Wiccan friends watching, feel free to correct me. But, you know, in traditional witchcraft, the Queen of Elphamay is the Queen of Fairy, the Queen of the Underworld, the Queen of the Dead, you know, and the Horned One is the Horned Hunter who brings the dead souls back to the Underworld, you know, he's the hunter. But also there are various other aspects of him and various other aspects of her as well. You know, you have him in the aspect of the blacksmith, and then you have him in the Man in Black, the traditional sabbatic image of him, that, you know, was so popular within the medieval century, the idea that witches worked with the devil, you know, stuff like that. So yeah, you know, I don't know really where I stand with that, so, but there are, you know, that has been one hang up with a book with a lot of traditional crafters. But no, overall, I really enjoyed the book. So, Nigel Pearson, Tread in the Mill, you guys should totally read it. I recommend it to my viewers. Over and out. Peace.